So my name is Chris. This is the second in a series of workshops, library workshops for the College of Computing and Engineering. If you missed the first one or you're not going to be able to make it to the other ones, that's fine. Though, like I said, these sessions will be recorded, and the College of Computing and Engineering actually has them uploaded to their own YouTube channel. So you can see the upcoming workshops on their page. There's a link here to their YouTube channel. That's fine. See what else they may have recorded in the past. Some of the more older videos, of course, might be out of date and does not have current information about the college or just information about the library if there's a library workshop. This workshop will also, I'll put the recording in our digital institutional repository or institutional digital repository. I feel like I always mix that up. It's called NSU Works. I can put a link to that in the chat in case you're interested. So there's a number of other things here in addition to just workshops that we do at the library. Like I said, this acts as the entire institution, all of NSU's repository for different things. So even the College of Computer Engineering, they have their own collection. You can look at different dissertations. You can look at different faculty, the faculty are publishing perhaps just different things for different colleges. And you can, of course, search within the entire collection, within their entire repository. And you can actually search other repositories. You can research, if you're doing research or you're just wanting to read dissertations outside of NSU, across all the repositories that are through this company that we work with to set up NSU Works. You can search all the institutions, all the universities that take part. The company is called bpress. So anyone who works with them, their repositories should be searchable. And that's about it for, yeah, I'll mention this again towards the end, but this workshop in particular is going to be focused on the databases. And with that, I'm just going to head to our library's homepage. Usually just searching NSU Library in a search engine will probably bring you here as one of the first results, but I'll put it in the chat. It's sherman.library.nova.edu. We have a number of libraries here at NSU. This is considered the main library, but whichever library website you wind up in, access to the databases should be pretty much the same once you get to certain steps. So with that, I'm going to scroll down to the middle section of the page. We have a bluish background, and this is where we try to concentrate pretty much all the resources you have available to yourself as a student or a faculty member. So obviously our catalog, searching different means of finding resources. But we're going to focus on the databases. So some of these things were touched on in the previous workshop, but I'll be going a little bit more in depth in two particular databases. So if you know the database you're looking for by name, or you just want to browse them alphanumerically, you can click the database by name button or the little box here. You get a drop down and you can start searching, or to see them all with the link to see them all alphanumerically. I typically default to telling people, oh, I don't even know all 500 or so by name. Go ahead and click the databases by subject box, get that drop down, and then just click the link to see all subjects. This tends to be a better place, especially if you're not familiar with all the databases, you're not familiar with the setup and how things are structured. So obviously for you guys, engineering, any topic related to engineering or computer science, we have different databases are categorized into different subjects here. So computer and information science, engineering and applied technology, some of the sciences. There's definitely some overlap for sure. So some of the databases that we see in the engineering side of things, we'll take a look at IEEE in just a moment later on in the workshop. But that's here in this database subject category, but it's also found within the computer and information science. So wherever you are, you might see some overlap. Just the top picks and some recommended ones. But if you don't know where to start, you don't know, or you're having trouble accessing something, you're getting stuck in terms of what you're searching for, we try to put our help, something related to our contact information, so you can reach out to us here at the library. We should be able to figure out something to help you along, whether it's a problem logging in or it's just need to think of keywords to help find some sort of article, something that you're trying to research. So the computer and information science sciences. There's a lot here. The big main ones are obviously these top picks that we have. Some of them have special instructions. So like this third one here for O'Reilly, it was mentioned in the previous workshop. O'Reilly, you have to go through a specific set of steps to make your own account. This isn't as common. Most databases, once you click the link, you'll sign in with your student credentials, as you'll see in just a moment. You have access right away. But O'Reilly and a few others, you do need to make an account of your own. So we'll start with ACM Digital Library, but I'm going to just rewind and just walk through these steps again, because this tends to be the most important part, is just finding access. Once most of you are here as computer and science engineers, you probably could figure it out for yourselves. But for the sake of, just repeating what some of the most important parts. So the library's homepage, around the middle, it might change with a website redesign, but look for databases by name, databases by subject, and then clicking either of them, we can get links to certain subjects or click the link to see all the subjects. So again, I'm in the computer and information sciences, and we're going to take a look at these first two here, kind of diving in and really exploring, not incredibly in depth, but more so than just like, oh, here it is. And this is where you type your search term. I'll try to touch on what I can, what was probably the most important. So clicking any of the database links, if you're not already signed in, you'll be signing in the left-hand box here with your student credentials. So just the first part of your Shark ID, the first part of your student email, and then the same password you would use to log into your email. And that should get you in. This is us bypassing pretty much any paywall we would have come across if we had gone to the ACM Digital Library website just on its own. So anybody can go to the ACM Digital Library or a lot of the database websites, and they don't need institutional credentials. But once they try to access something, once they try to actually read a journal, once they try to read a book, that's where things become a problem. So this is us getting access, because as a student, as a faculty, we pay for a lot of access to these things. So ACM stands for the Association for Computing Machinery. They've been around for about 70 so years, 75 years. They just celebrated their 75th anniversary, I think last year or so. And one of the things they've been pushing is open access. So this little blurb here on the homepage mentions that a lot of their older content is being made open access, and they're pushing to be completely open access by a certain, I don't know if they have a nailed down time frame, but so conceivably, once you graduate, you're in the workforce, you may not even need institution credentials, you may not need membership to actually access everything, but that may not come to pass, and that may take some time. But ACM, the digital library here, packs a lot into each web page. I find myself kind of claustrophobic whenever I'm here, and a little bit with IEEE, but there's a lot already here on the main page. I'll go into detail in a lot of these, but I just want to probably start with actually searching, because that's what you're going to be doing predominantly when you're here. So we, of course, have our main search box. Most databases will operate and look similar. I'll just do, let's say, machine learning. We get, of course, some options to choose from. I'll just use those two keywords. The more keywords, the more focused you want to hone in on something in particular. I'll go into the details of exactly doing some advanced searches and kind of refining searches. But a lot of databases will work something like this. You type in the keywords, and most of the filters will be after the fact. So we get plenty of filters we can start applying right away on the left-hand side. We're looking for a specific type of journal article. You can filter by all different types. Depending on the database, they're all a little bit different from each other. But depending on the type, depending on the content, they try to hopefully make the filters worthwhile. So publication date range, that's a big one to keep in mind. That can definitely help filter out a lot, because just with these two words, machine learning, we get over 450,000 results. So again, close to 500,000. So anything you can do to really cut that down, just to make life easier for yourself, applying different filters in different places. So a lot of these articles we have access to. I can tell that right away because I can go ahead and click the PDF button here. These buttons wouldn't be here if we didn't have access. So let's see. Okay, yeah, I'll click into this one as an example, but we get a lot of information right away. Obviously, the title, what kind of thing it is, what type, where it was published, the authors, and some other buttons which I'll highlight in just a second. So I can just click into this particular article. I might be able to read it right in the browser. It just depends, but I can definitely view it in an e-reader type format. I can download it as a PDF usually, and in this case, ACM is a little bit different than others in that you usually aren't able to read it right away. They don't try to load the entirety. I guess it saves them some bandwidth. It's usually just here's a little blurb, here's the abstract, here's the citation information, and some references and where it was cited, and maybe some recommended articles. So you can definitely see what else is out there that may be more relevant to what you're looking for. Plenty of buttons always following us for ACM. Some of these are grayed out because they don't have different media associated with the publication we're looking at. If they had tables, if they had charts, if they had maybe other multimedia, these buttons wouldn't be grayed out. We can look at the references right away. We can look at different metrics that are applied, how many times it's been downloaded, how many times this particular article has been cited. Look more into the journal itself, exactly what issue it was published in. So just lots and lots of information right here. Just a matter of not being overwhelmed with everything that you see. Just take your time, go through, especially since each of you are, this is your profession, you'll probably learn it in time. And this is one of those things that it may just be a learned skill, not so much like you're going to walk away from this workshop and know everything there is to know and be incredibly proficient at it. A couple other things worth mentioning here while we're looking at this particular article. We do have a citation generator. A lot of the nicer databases will have something along these lines. So you can immediately, depending on how the format is, you can immediately copy it to your clipboard. In this case, ACM reference, they have their own structure. You're probably going to be wanting to make sure it complies with APA perhaps, or MLA, or whatever you're looking for. But we can download it. We can copy it right to the clipboard. One of the options is EndNote, and that's actually going to be an upcoming workshop I'm going to be doing in November, I believe. So you're able to download that citation as a file or as it appears, and it's easier to import it into EndNote, which is a particular type of software that handles reference management and keeps things organized. Not going to go into that too much, obviously, now, but you definitely have access to it as a student. You have a license to EndNote, a perpetual license. Even after you graduate, the software should still work. You just won't be able to update it. But yeah, to keep an eye out for that workshop. I think, yeah, November 6th. So that's coming up. Let's see. I'm going to jump ahead. We'll come back to some of these other buttons in just a moment. But a few other things to mention while we're on this page. The buttons in the layout changed. Right now, we're actually in the particular journal that this article was published in. That's how ACM, that's how their digital library works. So we can look at the latest issue for this particular journal, the Journal of Machine Learning Research. We can look at past issues of the archive. We can go to the home page for the journal itself. There's just a lot of information they throw at you on every single web page here. It's pretty overwhelming. Once you get used to it, it's not so bad. So I'm going to look into the advanced search, and I can do that right here at the top right. We have our main search box for the entire digital library. We also have the advanced search. Back at the home page where we were, the landing page, we had an advanced search link as well. So this operates very similar, like most databases. The advanced search works pretty similar if you're familiar with working with other databases. There are nuances to this one, though. And ACM, to their credit, does give some tips. Not as many tips as I would like them to give, but we'll get to that in a moment. So we have Boolean operators, of course, that we can use in between keywords. It differs in how you go about where you're typing them. So For example, if we are searching and we were searching anywhere and we do machine learning here, that should be in between the words using the Boolean or operator. Whereas if we did machine on one line and then learning on a second line, that is adding the and relationship or the and Boolean operator between those two keywords. So machine and learning will pull up any articles that contain both of those keywords, whereas machine or learning will be pulling up articles that have either or. It could just have the word learning, or it could just have the word machine, or it could have both. Of course, we have more filters we can apply right away, just like we saw beforehand. We can do that here. One of the things that they employ is a lot of symbols, and they have a breakdown here of how to use some of them, but not all of them. I'm not sure why they don't have any sort of help guide or a further explanation of what each of these, how to go about using each of these. Yeah, a lot of databases, some of the nicer ones have a help guide, and we'll see that in IEEE. Scrolling all the way down to the bottom, you might see that there actually is, oh, there's a link using the ACM Digital Library. Perfect, that's what we need. No, that doesn't take us anywhere useful. It just says, oh, well, this is what you have access to at different membership levels, and that's it. So this is something I I feel like is amiss. I feel like this is supposed to be taking us somewhere else, and I might give some feedback to them. But yeah, you can definitely reach out to them social media or do a feedback request yourself here at the bottom of their page. Let's just go back to the advanced search. So pretty straightforward beyond the cryptic nature of the symbols. You'll probably figure it out once you start doing some practice searches. I've yet to stumble upon an actual guide, though, that would be more helpful. So I'm going to pause here just 1 second and see if anybody has any questions. I know this is fairly straightforward, but if you want me to repeat anything, yeah, just definitely let me know. There's a lot going on here beyond just journals. As you might have seen up here at the top, this top toolbar that follows us around, we have a link right to the journals. We can just start browsing all of them. There's a lot of them. Thankfully, they do give an option to not have we get a breakdown, a little brief description, or if we know them by name or just want to browse that way, so that they at least have some different view formats. But they also have magazines. They have about 7 or so magazines that you have access to, different focuses, different areas. And then the next one I'll mention are the books. We actually don't have access to all of the books. There's around 53 or so. Let me see if I can just view all of them here. Around 53 books. We have access to around half. So this is what I was mentioning before when I said, like, oh, we have ready access to something that we're looking at in this particular database. We had the PDF icon and then the e-reader icon. Whereas in this case, this book, we don't have that. This is something we would actually have to purchase, and we might be able to purchase that for you. That's through the interlibrary loan department here at the library. I'm not going to get too much into that. I'll make a note to maybe show that page at the very end. But if I click on this, we're not going to be able to read it. It does give us options. Oh, you can purchase it, of course, if you want, and then download it. But here, let me scroll down and show you some of the books that you do have access to. Like I said, we have access to about half or so. Around 25, I think, last count I did. So yeah, here we go. Here's one that we would have access to right away. And you can download it as a EPUB, a type of e-reader, read it right there in their built-in e-reader, or they get the PDF of it. Most of the rest of things work pretty similar to just like you were viewing a journal article in terms of like all the other links and all the other buttons. A few other things in the toolbars: proceedings from conferences. There's a bit of overlap here. I never understood where this link differentiates between, well, if the page actually loads. Okay. Let me go back. I'll try conferences. Okay, that link worked. So they have conferences, the proceedings of past events that they are a part of, and different things are published. So something else definitely to look into. And you can, of course, search within just those, search just within the conferences. And if you don't want to search, oh, I don't want to be searching the journals. I don't want to be searching the magazines. Last two, we have SIGs, the special interest groups that ACM has going on. Just more content, more things specific to particular professions in the field. This may be something to look more into after graduating, whether this is something maybe you'll want to become a part of, become more involved with. And then people, I believe, isn't the authors? It's just those, yeah. Okay, it is the authors. I thought this would take us to the board members for the actual library. So this you can just get a breakdown of all the authors and maybe find out a little bit more information about them. So I'm going to go back to the page where I was talking about the actual articles themselves. So I did a search for machine learning, and we were in this particular article. That's fine as an example. There was two other buttons here. So this is pretty common for a lot of databases. You have a button to get a citation alert, and this will tell you, you'll be notified whenever a record that you have chosen has been cited. So we would get a notification coming to us if this particular paper has been cited elsewhere that ACM Digital Library is aware of. And then the next one is to save it to our binders. So you can just sort of stay organized and save what you're looking at. Obviously, getting the PDF is probably ideal, but if you want a kind of a history of what you've been researching, especially if this is a database you find yourself coming back to often, it's probably going to pay off to make an account. That said, in this case, ACM, I haven't been able to make an account in how I really should be able to make an account. So right now, up at the top here, we see we're logged in through our university because we went through the library's homepage. But if I go to sign in, you're going to get a number of different options. So maybe your employer in the future pays for access. That'd be nice. You can always create a free account and view and save things and get the notifications. You may not be able to read everything, of course, just like we didn't have access to a lot of those books. And of course, we have an institution login. NSU isn't listed here. There is another school that goes by Nova. You might confuse us with, but that's not us. The Nova School of Business and Economics Library, that's not us. So we're not listed here, and that's been this way since I started working here. And I don't know if that's on their end. I don't know if that's on our end, but unfortunately, that means you kind of have to have two tabs open in a ways. One where we're logged in here through the university, and then your personal login with your own personal email address or your student email address even, that you don't have access to everything, but you can still make alerts. Hopefully we can get that ironed out. Obviously, having just one account where you can save things and be able to read them at the same time is ideal. That's just, yeah, that may just be a limitation for some reason for how we're paying for access with ACM. But you can definitely make a free account. Hopefully in the future we'll be listed so you'll be able to go in and walk through the steps of logging in with your student credentials. But as of right now, that's not a thing.
Chris, I haven't used this database much to know this, but did you try clicking on register? And did you still run into the same issue?
I don't recall. It's been a while.
Okay, I just wondered if when you registered, if maybe then it would somehow work to sign in. I don't know, just wondering. Thanks.
Oh yeah, it's a good point. I'll have to look into that. Yeah, it's talking about the membership. That's something different, I guess. I don't know if this is. Yeah, I'll have to try it out. But if this is something that interests you, definitely try it out. Hopefully, we'll get to the bottom of why we're not listed here, and maybe you'll be able to not have kind of two accounts in a way. But that's about it. The only other thing worth mentioning is if you do make an account, if you do decide to make an account, one of the more, I guess, fun asides is that you can't use symbols in your password. Out out of all the databases out there, out of all the companies, out of all the organizations, you'd think that one that deals with computing would want you to have strong passwords, but that's something I ran into. I recall that like, oh, I couldn't have any sort of symbols, not even like an exclamation point in my password. So that was odd. And that pretty much does it for ACM. There's definitely a lot here, but hopefully we can get some things figured out, especially when it comes to using it. Hopefully they have a user guide that's just not presenting itself with that link and the account issues. So with that, I'm going to hop over to the, close some of these tabs. The next one we wanted to look at was the IEEE. So I know that one by name. So back at the library's homepage, I can click the databases by name box and then start typing in IEE, and that's going to be the only one that pops up for us. So I already signed in with this web browser session, so I'm already getting in access through the university, so I don't have to sign in again, but you might have to. It just depends if you close out your browser or cleared your cache or cookies or that sort of thing. So yeah, much like ACM, much like most databases, like I said before, this database will look very similar. You have a search box. We have a lot going on each of the pages. We can start browsing things right away. But IEEE has more going on. It has quite a number of things that make it unique compared to ACM and some other databases that deal with this topic, deal with computer science. So I'll be pointing those out. For now, I guess we'll just do, yeah. Oh, I didn't even bother saying. So IEEE stands for the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineering, or engineers. It's a nonprofit professional association for electronics and electrical engineering. So just like ACM, post-graduation, this may be something you want to look into becoming a member. Maybe your employer will pay for access or pay for your membership dues. It's one of the bigger ones. It's been around for quite some time, over 100 years if you go back far enough, depending on the naming of things. So we'll just do a practice search. It's just you can see it in action. We'll just stick with machine learning, and it has advanced search as well. We'll look at briefly, but this looks similar enough that you can understand what's going on. Start filtering right away by the different material types. One of the nicer things about IEEE is you can select multiple things and then download them within reason. You can select up to 10 or 500 megabytes and download multiple things at a time. But we get a lot of the filters that we would want on the left, filter by publication type or where it was being published or when it was being published. Some of these you can see right away. We have an icon that tells us that it is included with our digital subscription through NSU. Some of the things we might not have access, at least we don't have access through IEEE. Maybe a journal that's published elsewhere, but these are specific. Looks like they're specifically published, yeah, by IEEE. So it's unlikely you would find it elsewhere. I don't know if there's anything I wanted to point out with the advanced search. No, there is command search. I don't know if that's really worth getting into too much. You're doing the same thing as advanced search in a way, but it's just a different format. I feel like some people may really like how this works in terms of just building your search query. So it's a nice option that they have. And of course, you can kind of work backwards in a way. You can search by the DOI, the digital object identifier, I believe it stands for. A lot of articles, a lot of publications are given a specific DOI number that's special, that's unique to it. So you can search by that if you know it, or kind of work backwards and search for something just based on its citation. So that's a nice feature if you know, it's kind of unique for this database, but it may come in handy. Thankfully, unlike ACM, or at least as far as I'm aware with ACM, IEEE does have a lot of resources and help to actually understand how to go about using all the resources here. So we can go down. So I was at, I guess I clicked that kind of quick. But up here in the toolbar, we do have a help drop down, and I can click resources and help. And then from here, we can get some information on how to do searching. So how to do advanced searching, that command search prompt that I mentioned before, just getting some search tips. So there's really a lot here that they kind of walk you through to understanding, not just searching, but just what they're all about and how to go about finding content and making the most of it. So even some videos you can watch on on using the different resources or searching. So if you learn better or just, visually you need something, you might be able to check it out in the video tutorials for some of the more basic aspects of using this database. I'm gonna go back to the home page and point out a few other things. So if you want to get a better understanding of what all we have access to, when I did that search for machine learning, some of the things were locked out. In the My Settings drop down here at the top toolbar, the last one is what can I access? And because we went through the library, because we're still through our institution, we can see exactly what we have access to for the different material types that they offer. This might be an easier way to go about trying to search, perhaps, because you don't have to deal with anything that's locked out. But for me personally, I like to see everything that's out there, even if it's something I may not have access to right away. And again, we'll talk about the interlibrary loan at the end, so we'll try to get stuff for you for the most part. But that link can tell you right away. That's one of the nicer things. Not all databases have that for us. A few other things. So in addition to, much like ACM, we have journals and magazines, we have books. IEEE has some other things worth pointing out. So of course there was conferences, but there's also courses. And this is not something, if I go back, I don't think that was something that was mentioned. Yeah, it doesn't mention courses here as something that our institution subscribes to. But this may be of interest to you. Could this be another line on your resume? It could help you stand out from the crowd, maybe something your employer will pay for in the future. But they do offer courses in a lot of different topics. I'm not incredibly familiar with them. I've never taken one of their courses before myself. I couldn't even tell you how much they cost. It probably depends on how long the course is, and if it's an introductory course, if it's more of an advanced course. But that is something that they have, and you can download the entire title list and get a feel for what's out there that may be of interest. And the next one is standards. So IEEE, they are professional associations, so they actually publish standards, global standards in a broad range of industries. So you can view a lot of them with our access. So you can look at the standards dictionary that they provide, see a lot of the standards that they publish for different industries, search within them. Definitely something that sets this database apart from other computer science engineering databases, because this is something that IEEE does. Specifically, they do it through their SA or their standards kind of arm of their standards association arm of the organization. So much like ACM, there is an account option, so we can go in and be like, oh, let's create an account. I have never been able to make an account, not just with my student credential, or not just with my faculty credentials at NSU. I haven't been able to make an account with my personal email address. I don't know why that is. I've yet to figure out why. There's an error box down here that's always been there when I'm trying to access through our library. So hopefully you have better luck. This is something they'll probably need to figure out. There is, going here back to the help section, authentication and access. And there is something along the lines of having your own personal account, walking you through the steps. Seems pretty straightforward. It even says, for instructions through our easy proxy, which is what we're using as an institution. You can tell up here in the address bar, easy proxy is part of the URL. So it has instructions, special instructions to make an account, perhaps. No, they don't have special instructions, or if they did, they're no longer available. So hopefully you have better luck making an account. Maybe, just like ACM, this is something we can figure out why things are going wrong. But yeah, I couldn't even make an account without my student credential or without my faculty credential. So that was a weird thing. But like a lot of databases, you'll be able to save pages, save searches that you've done, get notifications on different research. options, and be able to follow authors to get notification if they publish something new. We can even do that. Yeah, we hit follow for a particular author. It'll tell us to sign in. I can't sign in. That's actually something ACM didn't have that I forgot to mention. ACM, as far as I've ever been able to tell, their authors, you couldn't follow them and get notifications when they publish something new, which is sort of a standard feature nowadays. It's sort of odd that they don't have that. And that's pretty much it for IEEE. There's a lot here, as you could probably tell. Outside of NSU, outside of our institution, there's of course plenty of other things. Archive.org is another big one. It has a lot to do with the sciences, including computer science. So it's an open access archive for a lot of scholarly articles. Going back to what I was mentioning before, you find you're reading something or you're coming across something that we don't pay for access to for some reason, and you would really need access. You would really like access. So I'm going to mention how to go about requesting things through the Interlibrary Loan Department. So here on our homepage, back at our website, we have up at the top left menu button, under the research section is a link to our Interlibrary Loan Department. So we have a breakdown of what each document delivery and interlibrary loan, how do they work, how to go about requesting materials. You'll just click on this link here. You'll sign in and fill out the information. You'll probably have found whatever you know about the article, whatever you know about the book. So if we go back and say we were looking at a particular article that we didn't have access to here, okay, we would type in the title, maybe type in where it was published, when it was published, those sorts of details, and they'd get back to you. They get back to you hopefully soon and let you know if that's something that they're able to purchase for you. While I'm here, you saw already back on the database page, we had a link to different contact information just to get in touch with us. We put that elsewhere in a lot of different places on our website. So right above the databases buttons, we have Ask a Librarian, and we have that in the menu button, of course, as well. Just get in touch with us. You can obviously email us. You can definitely talk to us on the phone. You can even make an appointment. It'll be a 30-minute session over Zoom usually. Just fill out the form, tell us what times you're available, and we'll see if we can sync up our schedules just to help with any research or anything that you're struggling with using the databases, trying to make an account or anything like that. And that's pretty much it. I guess there's one more thing I had on my notes to possibly mention, depending on time. So say you wanted to search all of our databases, because it seems like, that's nice that we have IEEE, and that's nice we have ACM and O'Reilly and all these other ones. What if I wanted to search just all of them at the same time? That's where Shark Search comes in. That's our attempt at having sort of an omni box that searches a lot of our electronic resources, including our physical catalog. It doesn't search everything from my understanding, but it could be a great place to start, just like going to databases by subject and going to a particular database, trying out Shark Search and using its filters for obviously material type, where it's being published, all of those things that you're used to when you're looking at a database. This searches a lot. So you'll get stuff from IEEE, you'll get stuff from ACM, I believe, and links to the O'Reilly ebooks and just a lot of pretty much everything. So it can be overwhelming because it accesses so much, but it could be something worth experimenting with. And I think that about does it. So if you guys have anything you want me to repeat, or any questions you might have on anything I went over for the databases or anything about the library? Okay. Well, thanks for coming. I appreciate it. Like I said, it'll be available, the workshop recording, if you want to go back and watch it again. Definitely check out the CCE YouTube channel I mentioned before. NSU Works, our digital repository. And yeah, if nobody has any questions, we'll end it there. Thanks again for coming.